Hello once again everyone and welcome back. I am Natty and this is Nat Reviews, the series where I take a look at some random piece of media, be it music, a show, or some other thing, and I give my thoughts on it. This week around is actually something new. Very new in fact as I write this. That being Imagine Dragons' new album, Origins. It was released just last week, and just like Evolve, I am right here as it is released, and now I give my thoughts on it. Let's begin. Alright, so first off, this album is a bit of a surprise release. Usually the group waits 2 years, give or take, to release an album. However, this time around, they are releasing this very soon after they had released Evolve just last year. Before I get into the songs, I feel like giving my predictions on what I think the album will be like. We'll see how much of it is true once we finish. I also want to note that I already reviewed a couple of songs from this album previously in my series. Natural, Zero, and Born to Be Yours, to name a few. So I may speak less on those songs than others, unsure yet if I will, but just a heads up if I do. You can watch those videos for my full thoughts on each of those songs, but yes, onto my predictions. Okay, so I'm going to be honest here, I was excited for Smoke and Mirrors and Evolve to come out, had lots of anticipation built up and all, but this time around, honestly I haven't felt the same feeling. Sure, I am interested in all. I am always curious of new music from nearly anyone, but this time around, I don't know, feels different. I guess it could be chalked up to a bit of fatigue on their music. They've been constantly pumping out new stuff since Evolve came out, and now I kind of feel a bit tired? Not in a bad sense, but surely I am not the only one to notice how often they've been putting out new stuff. Evolve really wasn't that long ago, and I am still content with it. Now they're releasing another album this soon after. Am I the only one a bit tired from it? I don't know, probably am. Sure, I am a fan and all of the band, but I just fear it's too soon. I notice a little pattern for this album. They seem to be copying Evolve's release pattern, but with more Smoke and Mirrors era music. It's almost like a Smoke and Mirrors, but produced by others. But yeah, Natural is clearly a believer, being dark and rock-heavy pop or rock-influenced. Tinged. Bleh. Zero is blatantly a Thunder and has similar themes, even if a little further in the themes. Machine is rock-based again, just like Whatever It Takes, but still pop. Maybe that's just my thinking, but I notice a pattern. Origins, well, what is it meant to be exactly? It's a follow-up and a sister album to Evolve according to the band. It's meant to be an album Smoke and Mirrors fans enjoy, based on the lyrical content of Self-Reflection, but with Evolve-era producers and songwriting, and maybe more rock than pop. Who knows? Evolve was most certainly a pop album instead of rock in my mind. Smoke and Mirrors didn't fare well. It was chalked up to a sophomore slump by many music articles and critics. Evolve brought the group back to the head in the charts with Believer and Thunder, and to a lesser extent, Whatever It Takes. Who knows how well Origins will fare? The singles are currently lacking in chart power, but maybe they will receive a boost once this album is released. Many unknowns. Is it a good idea to release albums so close to the last? Are people worn out by now? I don't know, but I guess we'll find out in time. Between Evolve and Origins being released, Dan and Asia did divorce, which leads me to think of how many great albums there have been with people being heartbroken. Some Nights comes to mind, however bad albums like Paula by Robin Thicke have also been made following such events. But I do hold out hope that this album will be a great one, showing Imagine Dragons just coming hot off the heels of a heart-crushing event and coming back strong from it. Evolve was all about love, a new theme at the time for the group, at least being directly mentioned. Evolve did have hints of relationship troubles as well, and really showed the thinking of Dan in those times. Each album does tend to do that, show Dan's thoughts of the time, but yeah, lots of thoughts, lots of unknowns, only one way to find out. My anticipation of Origins as a whole kinda reminds me how I felt about Zero when it came out. I was a bit resistant to listen to it and such, but I did end up listening to it after all. That is kinda how I am here, but yeah, we'll find out. I've heard Natural and all, strong start as a lead single, but I am unsure if the rest of the album will hold up. Let's find out. Natural, a beating heart of stone. We began the album with Natural, which was the lead single from the album. It is one I have already reviewed when it came out. You can check the video out if curious on my full thoughts. But as for my thoughts after having heard it over and over since then, I can say I think of most of my original points still stand. The music video was released after I had already done most of my work on the video, so I can talk about that. The song is all about being natural, as the title hints, but the music video features nothing natural, but instead is supernatural and paranormal. Clever little thing there. It really fits in well with Halloween themes and all. It's also very gothic and kinda reminds me of emo music videos. Imagine Dragons missed the height of the emo music curve, so perhaps that video gives them the chance to live out that style visually, but yeah. Thoughts. The song is a dark, believer-esque song, and one that is a bit angrier. Perhaps my thoughts of it relating to the divorce of Dan and Asia is true. The song is also about realizing you must also stand up for yourself, as others may not always be there to help. It's a dark and spooky song, perfect for Halloween, especially with the video. The song has a rating of A- from me now, so yeah, it's kinda positive for me. Do check it out if you haven't already heard it before. I do enjoy the song still, and it's a good one. It's definitely got the I am a single sheen to it, very much, having the makings of a single. Lots of power and slick production, huge production values and all, definitely a single. 'Cause I'm bad at letting you go. Now we head into unknown territory. I'm very curious with the song based on its name. Boomerang. I definitely want to know why it's called that. Natural I've heard many a time, but now we head into the album's new tracks. Ones I haven't heard before. The first being this, Boomerang. So let's delve into the track. Okay, so the song starts out quiet and slowly builds up a jungle vibe. The lyrics came instantly to me as showing the relationship Dan and Asia have. They feel the relationship is going back and forth. Will they? Won't they? Will it work? Will it not? Back and forths between feeling like being ready to go and ready to stay. It's clear a relationship isn't working too well, and even to those involved, it's confusing and uncertain. The Jungle Mist vibe, sort of like Evolve era, continues throughout the song. The lyrics are very repeating, and the song feels way too short. I'm not sure how I feel about it. The lyrical content kinda stops after the original verse. I can tell why the song isn't a single. It's very much not ready to be one. If at best, it would be used as a song in some commercial, but not a single. The song is a little empty to me, but it gets a B from me. Not really my thing, but most of the substance of the song is in the music, not the lyrics here. Not a part of your machine. Alright, so now we arrive at the third song on the album, and the third single to be released from the album, Machine. From the original trailer for the album as a whole, I was interested in this one. It didn't sound anything like natural or digital, and certainly not Zero, and it left me curious. The song from the 10 or so second clip sounded much more rock-focused, and that made me very curious. So, now that I can hear it in full, let's see how it really is. Okay, starting off, the song is very different in feel from the preceding singles from the album. To an extent, it doesn't even sound like it should or would be a single. I believe I felt the same when Thunder came out. Maybe I'm wrong on that again because Thunder blew up and I didn't think it would. But yeah, it's just for my first few listens. The song begins with a loop of some beats and drums. It starts a mid-tempo, sort of, before building to the chorus, and then this continues. The song has a bit of a classic rock feel and a little bit of Smoke and Mirrors hints. I mostly feel the song as part of the classic Queen, the band. It even has a guitar solo, something sorely missed on most of Evolve. I'm glad Ben and Wayne get more love on this song, finally getting to play out and be heard and not so layered over. It's definitely a rock song, no doubt on that. A classic rock song even, very stadium rock era. Kinda reminds me on the more recent music front of Some Nights and Bleacher's work. When I heard the small snippet before, I thought the song would be more modern and more natural-esque, but I was pleasantly surprised by this. I love how this sounds much more than I originally thought I would. Perhaps a highlight for this album doesn't really feel like the traditional Imagine Dragons song, but still has its hints. I do enjoy it a lot. What is the song about lyrically? Well, at first it seems to be about rebellion against the machine. Against the machine. Which the machine is clearly an allusion to the man. Rebellion song and about being recognized to not be the same as the man wants the other to be like the man, being soulless and cold, unnatural, literally a machine. While the other views their self and their rebellious nature as the only one with heart, etc. It does get confused about what it wants to be though after the guitar solo, but keeps to the rebellion in part, but it seems the person begins slipping into thoughts of conforming to the machine. I'm probably wrong, but I think the song is about one who is determined they aren't for the man, but begins having thoughts of the man slipping into their inner thoughts. But really there isn't as much lyrically to the song apart from that, repeating the verses twice, etc. Another view could be that the chorus is the rebellious youth overpowering the machine as the machine tries to keep and maintain power. The first verse makes me think the viewpoint is from someone outside the rebellion looking at what the rebellion is talking about and is being swept into it while still having their own doubts. Or perhaps it's just a song about rebellion and I'm looking into things far too much. But that's what a reviewer does. We get analytical and try to make sense of things. They're just what I get from the lyrics. Anyone else can have whatever thoughts they wish. As for the vocal delivery, it's very much reminding me of Polaroid in places. It's very nicely done here as well. It really does make me think of classic rock. I'm probably alone in it, but I think Dan did a really great job with the vocal delivery here on this one. As for an Evolve equivalent, I feel the equivalent to this would be Yesterday. As in, all the members are audible. It just has that level of fun to it. I really enjoy it. It really is a beautiful mess of sounds and I love it. It has such a level of fun and energy, I can't help but love it. I enjoy it very much. I actually think I like it. A+ for me. But there is one nitpick I have. The one part we heard of the song in that trailer, I think it sticks out like a sore thumb in this song. It really doesn't fit to the rest. But that guitar solo in the chorus, I adore it. Lyrically, it repeats each verse twice, but instrumentally picks up the second time, and then it leads to the chorus. So lyrically, it gets a negative point there. But it being a truly rock song for the first time in ages, I give it mad respect. I miss that side of them. Sure, I love their branching out, but a speckle of true rock is approved by me. Other than the nitpicks, I love the song. Definitely listen to it if you don't listen to the rest of the album. Especially for those who like classic rock. Enjoy Queen from the 70s, listen to this. It's perhaps the closest we'll get from Imagine Dragons. Song gets my approval. Other than the nitpicks, I like this song very much. Is it a single? I don't think so. It feels more like an album song, but it's definitely one I love. I was wrong with Thunder. Mayhaps I'm wrong with this one too. I think its rock nature may not help it too well in mainstream stuff. It isn't as poppy and is very classic rock. I am not sure, but I do not think we have a classic rock revival right now. I love the song, but just my idea. Cool Out, 'cause baby I don't think... Now we move on to Cool Out, the song that follows Machine. The song begins very poppy and light, once again Evolve-esque. The song once again hits me lyrically first. The instrumental is very minimal and almost non-existent other than the same loop over and over. But lyrically I can tell it's a song about a relationship once again coming up on an ending. It does tell the other one in their relationship to cool out and relax, that they don't deserve the other and that they could move on. The character's point of view, they at least are noticing how flawed they are, and they show a care for the one they love and respect that they may need space and such. It's very don't stay for me. Interesting, a label mate made a song earlier in the year with a similar theme, but now Imagine Dragons makes one too. The song is neatly produced, as is almost all of Imagine Dragons stuff. It however gets a B from me. It's slightly above middle, for me, at least. But I'm a bad liar. Now we are on to the next song off the album, and a single released just days before the release of the full album, it being Bad Liar. It's a song that before now has not been heard at all in any trailers or any promotional material. It is the longest song on the album, bass or deluxe. It clocks in at only 4 minutes and 20 seconds. For their music since Smoke and Mirrors, that's long. Only I'll Make It Up to You is longer, only 2 seconds longer. So I have no idea what to expect here. I don't know any parts of the song, never heard parts, and with its length, I don't have any idea what to expect. It's nearly a minute longer than anything else. But yeah, let's move on to the song now, shall we? The song itself starts slowly and kicks in with a gentle beat at first. It's much slower and more electronic of a song compared to Machine. It is also not even remotely rock this time around. It fits in with the new Imagine Dragons. Sure, Imagine Dragons is genreless and tried to mix many genres, but the new sound they have been making since Evolve shows heavy in this. Musically, it fits in with the more electronic music taken over the last few pop acts remaining. It also has that coveted drop followed by an explosion of a beat. The song itself refers to Asia and Dan's divorce and the state of their relationship for the past year. The lyrics pretty well paint that image. The lyrics aren't helped in the fact that when you know the song is written by Dan and Asia. They wrote the song not knowing they were both writing about themselves. There are 2 verses, one seemingly written from Dan's point of view and the other from Asia's point of view. The rest is the chorus and pre-chorus leading to the drop. I do notice how the verse Dan wrote resembles partially the ending of Evolve the song Dancing in the Dark. It was a hint that the problems in their relationship definitely had been going on a while now. The song is essentially a relationship that can see falling apart in front of them. The song is essentially a relationship both can see falling apart in front of them. The good feelings of the past are seeming more of a fading memory than the reality of the present. The part where Dan tells Asia that she is free to go is very reminiscent to me of Ex-Ambassadors' Don't Stay. But this is just a little bit of a side note to me. I think this and that song go well together, at least lyrically. They seem to be following some similar themes. Lyrically, due to its message, I would give it an A. Musically, B+. So it's an A- at best, really. Though I think this song gets a general B+ from me. In many ways it can be considered a sequel to Next to Me and Dancing in the Dark. Compared to the other singles so far, this song stands out for being more electronically based. It is, in my mind, a much better version of Born to Be Yours. It shows Imagine Dragons doing an electronic song, but much better and more lyrically in depth. It has much more atmosphere to it here. It is also electronic, but has an Imagine Dragons flair to it that is unmistakable. Not sure I would call it a single, but it is certainly one that means a lot to Asia and Dan. So to them it's likely a good idea, but yeah, this song gets my approval. Who knows how it will hold up? But that's just my thoughts for now. It feels more like a very well produced album track, rather than a single of its own. Good song, got my approval for the time being, unsure how it will hold up, but it's clear the song is very important to both of them, and its production really drives home that idea. Try it out for yourself to get a feel for it. See how you like it or not? Have fun.
I'll be your West Coast, I'll be the sun, I'll be...
Now we move on from the last of the pre-release album singles, and move on to another song I was curious of based on the title itself, that being West Coast. Lyrically, the song tells the thoughts of many of the band members. They have been a band for a decade by this point. They have been on tour almost non-stop. They've spent so much time away from the ones they love, and they feel that they are neglecting those around them. Wayne proved this in an interview on his own before. But yeah, I can tell how being constantly on tour and away from your own bed and loved ones would be causing a lot of issues. The lyrics also tell of how the protagonist knows they are not perfect. He is only human, but is trying their best. The song is more folky, actually. I didn't expect that myself, but I'm in love with that. I thought Release was an excellent song and proved they could do folk more often. However, by the time that Evolve came around, folk music had went out of fashion, so I believe that may be a part of the reason for the lack of it on Evolve. But yeah, this song, I enjoy the folk sound to it. It's a sound they really can pull off very well. It's a really good song. Lyrically, it's different than others thus far, and instrumentally, very different. So it's got my big approval, solid A for me. If you enjoy simpler production with meaning and folkier music, this should work for you. Give it a listen and see how you like it or not.
Hello, hello, let me tell you what it's like to be a zero.
Oh yes, this song. I had a lot of fun with the review for it. That video was a lot of fun to make. It was also just before I found out the group was really making an album. I do admit I may have been a little harsh to the song, but I do really enjoy it. It gets an A from me. It's a dark message under the instruments. It's very 80s pop for sure. I won't go too in on this song as I already reviewed it in full prior. But I will say the song really grew on me. It's very summary of a song and perhaps should have been released earlier in the year. It's not as autumn or as cold as Natural and Machine feel, but it's real good. I love it has a guitar solo, an epic one at that. It's a great song, definitely one to check out. Also, soon after my review of it, they actually put out a music video. I must say it's a weird one, but one that is very fun. I enjoyed it. It's a silly and funny one. It isn't as weird as Thunder was on the first viewing, but definitely a weird video. I do love this song. It has the making to be a highlight or even a favorite of mine on the album, sort of like how I felt with Thunder on the first listen. It's a fave of mine of their work, maybe not the greatest, but it's up there. Do check this one out if you're curious. The singles will be linked below in the description, along with any other songs I can find to share. But yes, dark undertones to a very upbeat song. It's quite fun, if very curiously made song. Do give it a look.
Bullet in a gun, hey, but in the end, my time.
Okay, so now we move on to the next track on the album. One from the name I was very curious in. Just from the title, you can tell the visions that come from that, especially if in America lately. But yeah, the song starts off with a heavier production, but still some light. It isn't really rock, it's back to the poppy nature, but it is not full pop. But yes, musically, most of these songs aren't too involved, it seems, but lyrically is where one must really look. I do love the opening instrumental, but the song cuts in now. The lyrics tell the story of an artist being constantly told they are a sellout and criticized by pretty much all of those around, the negative feelings and depression really closing in. People expect far too much from an artist and never let them explore out and do new things. People just want a formula followed and never branched out from it. People put too much pressure on an artist, and they do try their best, but they can never please them, it seems. It shows a depressive episode of massive stress from Dan, and the visual of a gun goes to allude to a certain thing, but in the song he doesn't fully commit to the act of ending himself, but the thought has been on his mind. It shows. Lyrically, in the first verse, it references names from history in a taking names fashion as an idiom to the taking down of opponents around you. The song starts with them stronger, but over time they grow more and more hopeless. The bridge really tells this, yet at the same time, as to be expected, it hints to the gun violence in America. It never explicitly says, but it's very easy to see. The name already gave that vision to mine, but yeah, the song gets an A- for me. I actually like that it's not just another relationship song with a different instrumental. It's more unique that way. Theme-wise, it is very smoke and mirrors, and I approve of this song. Very well done. Listen to it if you wish. It is also, side note, the longest title on the album. No Zero, you don't count, even as you include that from Ralph Breaks the Internet part, which I don't include. That's just really silly to add on.
We are the face of the future. We are.
Now we continue into the album as we go to another song we've heard a snippet of before now, that being Digital. Let's move on to the song now. The song begins with a guitar and acoustic strum, but it kills that off and transfers into a heavy beat that is much more rap influenced. I've had bits of songs that showed Dan could try more of a rapping approach. This song continues that tradition with a more rap production. The chorus goes more like a pop verse between the heavier choruses, very much like the big rap hits of the early part of the decade. The vocal delivery is also rather diverse, from calm to raging, to shouting and screaming, to echoing. It's a very unique song and is very creative. The song is very digital, that's for sure. Lyrically, the song is very limited, repeating often, but musically, it's very rap-esque. Trap music, but with added layers of stuff. The hey 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 part makes me think, but still. But yeah, the song, lyrically, for what it does show, is that the protagonist is being frustrated with how the world is, wanting to choose how they live their life and the choices they make. They recognize they are the face of the future and must give an example to the new generation. Production-wise, I enjoy it instrumentally. It is both old but new. The styles conflict and show a resemblance of Imagine Dragons finding their old style with their new styles. It also conflicts old rock with new rap influences. Imagine Dragons are a rock band traditionally, but they have to face the modern world and how rap has dominated the music here in America. They have to find some way to keep relevant and keep with the times, but they don't want to change. Of course, that don't want to change bit also refer weakly to the resist movement and those who want to rise up against the wrongs of the world. The air sirens in the bridge are chilling to me, and if there was a music video, I can imagine the bridge showing a TV in a rundown apartment, the news always saying the same things, politicians promising this, but in the end, they are always saying the same thing, always lying, and only saying things people want to hear in order to get elected. It's as much of a protest song as it is a political message. For the creativity of not just holding on to love things, it gets my approval. It is much more in-depth than I can make it out to be, so check it out yourself. It gets an A+ for actually being creative, and not just another cut-and-dry love song repeatedly. It shows Imagine Dragons can actually make songs of death, and they should do it more. They don't have to stick to some pop formula. They have actual ability they should be using in their music.
Only listen to you breathe.
Okay, so now until the end of the album, we haven't had any snippets of any of these songs. Let's see how they go. Now we're on to Only. Okay, so Only starts with a more pop synth feel, like 80s music, but the chorus kicks in and it's very the middle, even with the clockish sound. It is throwback to 80s pop, but also at the same time modern. Of course, with the middle comparison, you can tell the song is love-themed. It's more creative, however, in this production-wise. It is a very diet pop song. It's very much pop, but it's so light. Lyrically, it is West Coast-like, and as in Dan is calling Asia to hear her voice, missing the ones he loves. He is away so long and misses the ones near him. He desires to hear them more and wishes just to escape life he has and go to the ones he loves. It's actually a creative song, not much lyrical depth, but it's what the middle would sound like if made by Imagine Dragons. So yeah, I like it enough, A- due to the lacking of lyrics. It is very empty otherwise, and likely would get a B or lower B, but right now, as I listen to it for the first time, I give it an A-, likely to change over time.
Time goes by and still I'm stuck on you.
Alright, so we move on from Imagine Dragons Presents The Middle and onto Stuck. The song starts breathly silent and slow. It begins its chorus and is reminiscent of Dancing in the Dark. I know it's hated by many, but I enjoy Dancing in the Dark. But that's aside the point here. Now we're on Stuck. Without the spacey production, I could imagine this song being a doo-wop song. Lyrically, it's a love song. Dan feels Asia was his only, and now with time going by, he still finds himself stuck on her, thinking about her often and such. It's R&B mixed with Imagine Dragons space, and the softest of rock echoing in through the ether. It's a very empty song, but not in the sense that I've used the term before. But yet, the song is love-soaked, gets a B- from me, almost a B, but the oversaturation of love songs and breakup songs on this album kinda pollutes it for me. On its own, I enjoy it. As a part of the album, yeah. I may listen to it every now and then, just to get a little bit of a different sound to the Dragons. Plus, it has influences of other acts I enjoy. So it could be the one I listen to just to hear what Imagine Dragons sounds like doing other artists' styles. It's a very album song, not close to a single.
Where do we all go wrong?
Well. A title like this, I am almost certain it's a love song. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so the song starts off with a skippy beat. The song is also about a different kind of love as portrayed by the rest of the album. It talks about the general emotion of love for others, as in love for your fellow man. The song is very much of this time, talking about racism, the news, elders hating on the younger generation, gun violence bringing back the feeling of the Old West, always fearing you'll get shot just by living your life and walking out into the world. So yeah, very current events heavy. It's a good album ender as it tries to be deep and sound like an album ender. It is also Imagine Dragons' take on the Black Eyed Peas' Where Is the Love, in my mind, so it gets a point there for me. I like seeing them try other songs. It reminds me also of Stereo Hearts and quite a few others that it could be based on its sound. Even some of Some Nights. Some Nights really is an influence on music, much farther reaching than I previously noticed. It's a mankind, let's all unite, stop the division, man song. Very political in that sense, but yeah, songs like this often end up being poor tries at that. This one gets a middle of the road feel to me for songs like it. It gets a bonus for actually being more in depth than just love, love, love from me. B+ is my current rating on the song. Who knows how it'll age for me. If you don't like songs like this, I can't blame you. I don't tend to like them either. Like, good idea, us uniting, I support that. But it's the sour taste in my mouth where the artist thinks they are so superior and they alone can solve this issue addressed. But, this song is harmless enough, so yeah, B. You listen yourself. Let me know what you think. Deluxe Edition! Alright, so I'm not done yet. I may have reached the final track on the actual base album, but there are also songs to be found on the Deluxe Edition that I am certainly going to check out as well. There are 3 new songs and 1 older song thrown on, those being Birds, Burnout, and Real Life, with the older song being Born to Be Yours. Let's find out if these songs go well on the end of the album and generally how they are overall. Alright, so now we move on to the bonus tracks of the album. Will they keep to the same themes? Will they actually do something creative and unique? If so, I wonder why they are cut from the main album. Let's find out with Birds. The song begins slower and had trap sounds, but at the same time, love song production. It's a love song, by the way. I'm sure I don't need to say again and again and again and again and again. We have so many love songs on the album already, so there isn't anything new I can say to it. But yeah, general love song, likely forgettable, disappointing start to the bonus tracks. I was hoping for something stronger. But it's a love song through and through, with the typical fixings of that type of song. If you love songs, try it. You may actually like lots of this album then, if so. But yeah, my rating is B-. Would be higher since I love the instrumental, but lyrically it's extremely lacking the lyrics to back up such a great instrumental. It has hints of ex-ambassadors, so perhaps this song could be given to them, or maybe this song was a song for them, but given to Imagine Dragons to do with. Who knows?
Oh, give me strength and give me peace.
Now we move on to Burnout, the longest song on the entire album, at 4 minutes and 33 seconds in length. It is also the second song on the album after West Coast that was written and solely produced by Imagine Dragons themselves. The last time they had this ability was their pre-album days, and some of the tracks on Night Vision, so I'm a little excited. I liked West Coast, but let's see how this goes. Alright, the song is quieter, and at the same time darkened. It has hints of doo-wop again, but trap influence at the same time. It's very grand in production with so many styles. It doesn't know what it wants to be, but perhaps that's what burnout means. Perhaps the band feels burned out after doing so much for so long. They feel boxed in, and they don't know what to do now. They are creatively tapped and are begging to have a break. But yeah, instrumental is excellent. I enjoy it. It is smoke and mirrors lyrically, confused production-wise, Evolve era poppy, but old-timey Imagine Dragons rock. I also enjoy the way they do the electronic build-up. It's actually well done here. I feel this song should have been on the album. It gets my A rating. The mix of styles to me go with my thought on the song. Imagine Dragons are known for blending styles, but yeah, the blendings in the lyrics, that's what the song means to me. What it means to you is up for what you think. Listen to it. Let me know what you think. I actually approve of this song. Good one. Want something not just love, love, love? This should work. I definitely think it should have been on the main album, not the bonus section.
Real life, a real life, oh, hey.
Okay, so now we reached the end of the album's bonus tracks, as in not songs we've heard before. This is the end of the deluxe album, Real Life. Sure, there is Born to Be Yours, but we've heard it already, and it's not even included with the deluxe except in physical copies. Okay, the song is not just about Asia this time, but it's seeming to be more about Dan's children, and the way they are seeing the horrific events the world is going through. They are seeing the gunning down of innocent lives and how they hate how much hate there is in the world. And not just that, but all the events they are seeing. They begin to cry at what they see, and Dan can't stand seeing them have to grow up in such an awful world. He feels bad about it. He wants them to grow up in a better world. If you follow his social media, you would be able to confirm this sentiment. He has had it much in his posts. Even videos of his children show it. It tells of a rough parenthood in this modern world over a folk old country beat layered with slick pop production. The folk nature gives to the pure innocence of the children's point of view. Good job putting that little feature in. The song also shows how Dan is losing his faith and how rough the modern world is on the individual for those living under the power of others. The ones higher up are unaffected, but it's the lower classes and the working people who actually are being hit the hardest by these decisions and the events of the world. They feel ignored, they feel hopeless. No one higher than themselves are even showing they are caring. Even the almighty beings and gods of the world seem not to care for the mortal beings on this chunk of land that we call Earth. The song is very in-depth lyrically, as you can tell. I enjoy that. The song is very current events, referring to the numerous mass shootings, trade centers, the forcing of religion onto children who don't even know what they're being forced into, Boston bombings, this sort of stuff. She also asked how she could believe in something, this being God in this case, or any authority figure, that just stands aside and lets these awful events happen. It's a very big political song, and certainly one that should have been on the album. It's much more in-depth, and actually creative and unique. I give it an A. It is a highlight of the album. Should be on the main album. Not a single, but definitely a song that should be on the main. It's also a good show that longer songs are good for the band. They can fit this much message into a song of 4 minutes compared to them repeating the same line over and over for 2 minutes. Their longer songs tend to be much better. This is a golden highlight of that. I love this song. Please do listen to it. It's also not just the same kind of pop before it. It's very Night Visions-esque. So it's much more traditional Imagine Dragons. It's very excellent. This is a favorite on the album for me.
I never knew anybody till I knew you.
Okay, so to end the album, we are back to Born to Be Yours. I have already reviewed it as well, video link below. But yeah, this song, very summery indeed. Dan still sounds like he is restrained some on the track, and overall the song is still a bit meh to me. Like, I don't hate it, but in relation to the album's other singles, I don't really feel it matches too well. It's an Imagine Dragons song, yes, and I know it's a fair bit controversial amongst the fan base. It's not bad, but it's not the best, middle of the road, C+. There could be more energy and power to the song, but it feels a bit held back for electronic music. It's a love song, definitely about love. Lyrically repeats itself many times, and not much to go in on that. I do think a rock group meeting an electronic music producer was done better with Coldplay meeting the Chainsmokers. If you like electronic music with a summer vibe and a bit of restrained production, this could be the song for you. I personally go back and forth on this song a lot. You may note my opinion will flip often on that. Do go check it out if curious, link below, but yes, with this we have come to the end of the album. Let's wrap this up in my conclusion of thoughts. Conclusion. Alright, so now we reached the point where I give my thoughts on the album as a whole. We went through all the songs, so what are my thoughts on the album itself? Well, I'm sure you may be beginning to already tell from my reviews above that I don't think I like the album as a whole. I like individual tracks on it. I think the album needed more time to actually develop to get better. Like Night Visions, for example, it took years to make and compile. I think Imagine Dragons needs a break and more time before making another album. They really need it. If they are to produce better music, they need a break. I am very glad they got the new producers in on this album. That helps diversify their sound. But I can't help but feel lyrically the band is drained. They need more inspiration and more time off to work on a new album. Not just a few months after the last release. I usually can't wait for new stuff from them, but this album cycle I was feeling very meh with. I do like certain songs on the album more than others. The rest feel more like filler. There are highlights that show certain songs were given a better amount of time to be made, but really, the album could have been much better. This is my first few listens to the album. These are my thoughts the first night of its release. Perhaps I will lighten up to some of the songs over time. Music does do that. The singles felt very out of place. They're almost too well produced compared to the rest of the album. It feels very rushed. Zero has far too much production for the songs around it. Zero is fun. It shows the true capabilities of the band if they are just given more time to put something together. The highlights on the album make it seem they can make something good out of this record. They can. They really can. The songs go somewhere and feel they can be followed up with the same amount of punch, but then bam, it falls flat on its face immediately after. The following songs don't back up the highlights. The highlights thus may make the start of something, but they are never continued or followed through. They can make something more consistent instead of a fruit basket of songs that either sound identical to others on the album or ones that are oddballs. It feels like a compilation of songs not good enough for Evolve but still good enough for a record, mixed with some gems. I don't feel the Origins aspect. It seems more like a cool name they thought of that would go well with Evolve. Doesn't feel like an Origins album musically or lyrically. I thought a breakup record would be something with more punch. They tend to be. But this time around, it honestly just doesn't work. I do note the general theme of a troubled relationship. This is very much an album of the time since the divorce for Dan. Many of the songs revolve around it and the feelings. Many of the songs also feel out of place and out of order. I know this album is called a sister album, but it feels more like Evolve 2 Electric Boogaloo. Emphasis on electric. It feels like a collection of Evolve songs that didn't quite make it, mixed with newer songs. Machine is my favorite. Real Life is another. Real Life is a much better version of Love. Natural is very out of place, same with Zero, but yeah, now it's time for us to find out. What do I rate this album? My rating is honestly a B-. That's the best I could give it just based on these first few times listening to the album. I already have forgotten some songs. They are that generic for many of them. They may have excellent production, but lyrics need improvement. Imagine Dragons showed on the highlights of this album they can do so much better. They just need that creative push, someone to help them out to make better music overall. I see what they were trying to do here, but the execution was just not there. Okay, so I will say I am not too sure. First, I know this album cycle I didn't feel too excited for the new music they'd put out. Much of the music they made this year is very lackluster. Natural was perhaps the only I was truly excited for. It delivered well enough, but it didn't make me feel like, oh yeah, I want to hear more! I think Imagine Dragons have talent. They can certainly make great music. They have done it before. But I think they need a push in creativity. They need to explore new things, see what does and doesn't work. They need to take some time off. Each band member needs to be better represented. This album felt more like Dan Reynolds and his synth backup band. The previous records felt more like the band was together doing something, actually getting to play. Here, there is Natural, Machine, and Zero, and a few select others where they feel they are actually there. But the rest feel like they aren't utilized to their full extent. Imagine Dragons, I know you won't be listening to me speak of this album. If you have, you're probably already long gone off this video. But please do take some time off, recollect your thoughts, try to make something that really pushes you and your talents. Work with others, perhaps even some guest vocals from Asia or some of the label mates. Work with other artists. Just don't go overboard and have 20-something guest musicians or vocalists like many songs now seem to have. Try to find that balance. Try making good collaborative efforts. I believe there is good in you as a group, but please do try making something stronger. When you feel good with a song, look for ways to improve it. Push on that creative edge. Make an experience from start to finish. Try to take some time to find yourselves. Thank you for the work you have done for years now. It's nearly 10 years now. Congratulations. I hope to see more from you in the future as a group. I do look forward to more. I just hope you'll do something bigger, bolder, better. Always keep pushing yourselves and strive for better. Thank you. I will say one thing. After working on this album review, a thought came to mind. Mind you, all the other thoughts in this video come from my initial thoughts on the album. This, however, is from a few days after. Perhaps this album truly is an origins for the group. They evolved to a new sound that tried to still give some throwbacks to their old audience. They gained a lot more of an audience with Evolve, lots of new fans. Perhaps Origins is them starting to develop their new sound for their new audience. The start of their new growth amongst a new fan base, instead of appealing to the older audience of theirs. That's perhaps why I thought how I did. Maybe it's just not meant for me, and it's meant to appeal to the newer audience of theirs. Most of the tracks I enjoy aren't too well liked by the newer fans, based on what I've seen throughout the fandom. So maybe this is why I haven't been too well inclined on their newer stuff. I know by a certain age your taste in music stops changing, and you find what you like already. Mayhaps that's what's gone on with Imagine Dragons for me. But yeah, food for thought, I guess. Alright, so I think that's the end for us here, honestly. I gave what my thoughts were on the album and the songs on it. I do fear if I'm being too harsh or too negative on the album, but these were just my first listens, so I honestly can't say what my thoughts will be further down the line. I do not absolutely hate the album, but I can see where there is gems in it, to me, in my ears, and I do believe they can do better. They have done it before, they can do it again. Here's hoping album 5 will be better. Not saying this is a bad album, but every artist can always improve. It's always good to better yourself, and even if you are proud of what you make, you can always see room for improvement in your own works. The Black Eyed Peas did that as well with their new album. You know the typical end of video talk of comment, like, etc. So I won't be going through that, but yes, this has been Natty. Thank you all very much for watching to the end, if you have. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, month, even a year. Bye-bye.
One more chance. Worry and honey, give it one more chance. Worry and honey, give it one more chance.